All TMS caps?
No, no caps, no spaces. TMS guest. The Meadows.
Is it guest or guests?
Guest.
Okay.
Because you are a guest, not several.
Reductionism.
True. Zhao.
Whenever you guys are ready.
Yep. Alright, Ashan, you'll watch my step.
Yeah.
Alright, hey, speak from there, because that's exactly where the camera's in.
Alright.
Both of you.
Must.
I believe that here.
You good?
Yeah.
Oh, they're gonna log in. Whatever. And you'll say start clear. One global justice requires a reduction in inequality and focus on material rights as Okareki and Seventh justice derive from equality being stability on property as well as exercise rights depends on the ability to function effectively when basic needs are not met. Other rights becomes empty libertarian notions, sanctions limited material equalities outweighs aim, arbitrariness is morally arbitrary to hold people responsible, but they can't change treating poor people differently cannot. Other is thus morally arbitrary, destroying the foundation of theory B. Any theory that condones an equal societal order should be rejected, not be accepted by those at the bottom makes it useless as a political philosophy which must be publicly justifiable since people cannot reasonably disagree with any justification principle given the wide variety more and more theory. And second, structural violence outweighs liberty notions. A, any equalities requires that you harm cause of act that people are equal mean one group should be harmed for the sake of collective. B, marginalization spills over impacts other types of violation, particularly free speech, political inclusion, democratic vitality, and hunger, linked to other standards and other offense. And third, structural violence is underrepresented in conventional thinking. You should include it as most important in your impact calculus. That's Dixon. Love until violence set aside. We need to engage in different kind of violence that is mental long acts that you just kind of catch the down represents so much an accident requires to think the way we perceive affliction. So violence is exponential operating threat multiplier can feel present conflicts where the condition for life becomes degraded. And four, no act distinction for states. That's Sunstein. Like individual voice among relating third parties when authorized by action, refusing act distinction become obscure when authorized action becomes obscure in the form of the company formally forbids private action but not fully discourage it. Thus, this is minimizing structural violence. Contention 1. Trans youth of target discrimination violence. That's Carol 1. Teachers participating in harassment. Youth come out as transparent, suffocating, thematic, screen title, conflict, that's for leads feelings violence, more than half all trans youth attempt to kill themselves, and denied access performance is a leading cause of suicidal tendencies. That's Carol 2. Research found that depression and suicide among trans people is tied to the unmet need for gender conforming medical care, denying acts or represents refusal to recognize human trans people, frustrates ability, self-determination, difference, autonomy, discrimination, or much of the depression, reducing risk of trans youth, and lack of control over their own bodies. These trans adolescents legally get access to therapy. That's Carol 3. Trans youth seeking access to forms of counter the barriers between forms of resources. Then medical professionals those may be quality just maybe taken to be effective to treat hormones create the potential for health problems that may prove they will. Thus, the plan governments should ensure that adolescents have the right to make autonomous medical choices regarding hormone suppression therapy. I reserve the right to clarify the expiration specification. There are 4 things that the author specify multiple different after terms, especially but I don't know the one is strategy coming against anti-debates every round, and parental consent is insufficient for trans people. The measurement adoption establishes the presumption of long trans treatment for adolescents leads to bill for trans adolescent medical rights. As Carol 4. Parents should often because it happens to make it difficult for adolescents to trans medical care trans to overcome the loss of measurement adoption establishing parental consent. The doctor lets you get the youth measurement have to appreciate the consequence of action. The doctor allows minors to have to without permission with the court. Reducing the so you can encourage medical and rights treatment protocols and puberty source hormones. We offer fluid conceptions of identity. That's Coleman 1. Adolescent baby level should be source of hormones puberty chance of gun hormones use give adolescents more time to spread gender Oxford and 5 still to trace but afraid to develop sexual which was then impossible versus federal continual produce sex free summon and presumption and favor of action hormones that would safeguard against prejudice and ease worries on physicians about providing services to trans youth. That's Carol 5. A presumption favor long chances of pain hormones and after skip prejudice against trans youth regards party posing access to and the mature making less likely access would be denied presumption favor but also reaching medical professional that providing service not exposed to any liability. Framing. Our interpretation that the judge has to read and deep and probability scenarios we are not responsible for our moral choices consequent of the plan the principle of intervening actors will perpetrate responsible terrorists and we are solely responsible for their out of action. We have never act morally if we do so include others to even taking moral action. Is the only consistent justifiable moral theory with the consequences of the justified effect that changes surely or ought to determine there whenever the action moral PI is the only reasonable interpretation requirement the non-consequential scarcity and possible future consequences we are born controlling the mind evaluation responsibility of the action that we commit and the is not to be not see the conversion not replace the impersonation. You are not responsible for anyone who follows this reaction PI is terroristic responsibility of the emphasis which is wait, the other person is capable of stop messing with the plastic. It's driving me nuts. No great power or deterrence. Economic independence, political and business leads to social change. That's a disease for cheating but with his fate and death is probably the course of the Jefferson pickers. Doesn't reveal the deaths of fallen to MAD. Body which is had for launch gags to cap the possibility of creating nobody wants to cause Armageddon with the bad nuclear war and other things up to be highlight the change the world has become more economic because we're connected to the FDA. Intertwined countries proud the world countries become too failed. Businesses Westlands well connected mass countries are access to global markets. These are huge about global war. They change half social. Let's spread the has brought the world close together. More connected with democratic. Matter of much harder for war mongers to go to war. The world is getting rich countries are less desperate to go to war. See other people's stuff. Any abstract questioning is useless. Debaters should seek to design concrete alternatives. That's Brian in 12 North Sea seems to be terror cancer for the reject them altogether. This is worst attraction wishful thinking. Our plans for UCV phase 1 radical critique, phase 2 question mark, phase 3 social transformation off the critiques survive but reach phase 3 after produce new collectives. We denounce that not engage question we want the revolution to reaction we cannot more drive people to got you on the demanding what me make concrete proposals I would Love to hear radical environments talk about the environment we plan for ways how to navigate the federal government. Relevant discussion for the story, starting less creepy, please know the problems we need. Composition and particularity is the best standard. That's price 98 small. To your arrive at the possible interpretation, but eventual ability places your contingent just actually said. Right, and the theory and research to predict claims of relation to the phenomenon based on the projection of big T. Not for close multi and the laws. You step in the right direction. That's skill reef for seeing the laws the best way. Shall we have a dealing community problems abandon the laws, the luxury of academics to doing for that? We have to use the law, the governing agency, quality budget, responsibility includes your change, the change price, situation for the better, and our pragmatic political practice is productive, which away policy discussion fails because oppression, institutionally entrenched that Jones and Spicer 9. Discourse cannot be account for the structure. It's just styles for the local class power constricted. Social media situation orders which undermines the structural reality of power. Religion on deal with institutions, ability since you're supposed to use power with state colonies and such. Oversights have become refine the structural constant and or something to specify matters. Exist the structural board. The objects are capable of guiding its training practices of representation. Such constructs have become socially structural structurally individual subject and are heuristic of the same means we should learn about the state without being a mere the middle ground. This is often such a naughty for achievements of the government not with the reactions found in conditions struggles to government rationality of nervous capital the good of power of sex to the power of new practice government advice never actually said that our character humanization power foster political games even through the political practice gen attention what happens instead of what has to be said but not wait the revolution about power would whatever happened to the cards in available to cards reflexive of the consequence of political choice in my position leads not apathy but hyper-pessimistic activism theoretical specifications 1 prefer reasonable after to the carbon judge user reasonably about the presently term impact to graphic negative sense equal access off there's no abuse because structural access balance there either or multiple legitimate interpretation topic the afterwards about no logic one one is strategy I have to choose between these two exclusive interest and negative can always be G7 1 me for having backgrounds 2 after serving as 8 times Q the true does not have timing for both theory and substitute true twice long so I've asked off the anti actually will cost the higher there be the 1 or 2 short me theory especially if I have to cover his showing or RBI for theory to be reciprocal which is key access balance the after always theory so I just take sense answer some interpretation issues RBI's key check for the theory key discussion topic which is key education ensures the efficacy access to 1 CD only the negative routine which precludes theory and half of it's already new RBI in order to compensate for that advantage.
Okay. Ready?
Yeah.
Let's talk about your price 98 evidence.
Sure.
It says particularity is the best standard. It says small t truth claims take into account contingent factors. Why do we care about small t truth rather than big T truth?
Sure. So the claim about small t truth is that small t truth claims give us a better opening in terms of whether or not they are true or false. So for example, abstract statements like dogs are annoying could be recontextualized and whether or not like a chihuahua would like affirm that statement super heavily. Like
okay, so why does this mean that particularity is the best standard?
because the
Yes,
argument is that
we
if
can
you
make
just say
smaller
like
claims,
if you
but-
say that the law is bad, then that should be outweighed. That should the statement that giving trans adolescents using the law to hormone treatment should be if I win that is good. I do not necessarily need to win that the law is good
Why?
in every instance. Because the argument is that in order for us to have productive discussion, a small t truth claim does not contradict a big T truth claim. But the argument is that we should use small t truth claims instead because when we use
Okay, you still
particularity,
haven't answered the question of why particularity is the
I
best
definitely
standard.
have because
It
it
says
is more
research
specific
is
to the
best.
AF.
It says
Right, you
research
could
is
say
best
that like
contingent
talking
claims.
is bad, but
Alright,
like
that's fine.
that doesn't say that like my type of talking is
All
bad.
right, let's talk about your Harris 8 evidence.
Sure.
It says we are solely responsible for the morality of our own actions. What does that mean? So how do we determine the morality of our own actions?
All right, sure. So this argument is that if you read a scenario about how like Iran's going to build nukes and like they're going to go to war, that does not deny that like the action of the AF is a bad thing because that would be the moral fault of someone else. The principle of intervening actors is the idea that we should assume like it's in both impact defense and an impact framing argument.
Okay.
So like if doing the AF would lead to the United States like nuking someone else, then
Alright,
that would be a
that's
relevant
fine.
impact. But like
Let's
other
talk
like,
about the theoretical.
like a Russia-China war is not a reason
Does
for
the
us
net
to
get
use it.
RBIs too?
Like I think some of my RBI arguments like would
Okay,
apply
so
to negative.
the neg also gets RBIs.
If you say that you should get an RBI, I might do specific work for like specific reasons why the neg might not get an RBI.
Okay, so your
The 1AC does not
your
make any
warrants
reason.
why F gets RBI are A times Q. C says RBIs are key to check frivolous theory, key to discussion of the topic. Why does this not also apply to the negative?
All right, sure. So the argument is that the AF is always open to theory because I had to take a stance in some interpretation of
Doesn't
issues.
the 1 and C also, isn't it always open to theory? Like, I make arguments, they're always
Sure,
possible
right.
theory.
But once again, like the particularity argument I make, maybe RBIs are good in general, but I've both made reasons why RBIs are good and reasons why the AF should get RBIs. So just because you say I should get an RBI too, I
Okay.
believe that I should reserve the right to say like if the
That's
2NR
fine.
has some advantage for an
Let's
RBI.
talk about your Aziz evidence.
Sure.
It says no great power war and cites interdependence. Why is economic interdependence strong enough to overcome incentives for great power war?
No, that's not. Well, the argument is that interdependency has become super big. So it's that big power wars would not happen because countries have too much incentive not
Okay,
to.
so the reason
because
that people don't go to war is that they have economic
well-connected
incentives.
domestic interests are more dependent on access
Okay,
to global
that's
markets.
fine.
These are huge disincentives to global war. Like it's defense. Obviously, there's not a 100%
Sorry,
chance
right.
it won't happen. It's just defense. 4 minutes, right? Okay.
to 16 left.
Alright. What's the order?
2 off base. Here you go. Alright, is everyone ready? Granting trans people the ability to make autonomous medical decision generates scripted as rational autonomous subject that nationalized disability as inferiority, politicization of rights is tied up with the elimination of deviant corporealities to understand the productivity of organized bodies for maximum utility. Fridge 15. Disability is biological, monolithic fact of body. Disability is presented fact of life requiring courage, not assisted marking some bodies, normative, viable body, marks the race as neutral, not needing the autonomous natural subject defines people with disabilities as unworthy while naturally disability inferior measures assume disability is ontological, problematic, embedded in the position of life to focus on an exterior environment as a site for production of disabilities threatens to people inside different impairment threatens to be naturalized in an already existing identity to force deliver died subject to disabilities to be productive or risk exclusion. They force trans people to internalize negative aesthetic judgments about their bodies. This outweighs any benefits of access surgery by normalized signifier the able gender conforming individual. Koenig 09. Legitimate based on the medicine is not the goal. The trans movement seeks alternative ways of describing trans identity. People do not fit on the umbrella medical model. The medical model fails to describe a vast portion of the trans community and produce many gender non-conforming individuals. The model admits that all trans people desire medical treatment. Other trans people cannot obtain a GID diagnosis. Medical model leaves many trans people persons behind the medical model fails to establish social authority for trans people because pathologization is stigmatizing the diagnosis of GIDs to be found abnormal. The stigmatizing effects of diagnosis outweigh the marginal gains in access to surgery and hormones. The aim of the trans movement should be to attack binary construction of gender non-reinforced by a tragedy idea that trans identity is a state of feeling trapped in the wrong body. The medical model seeks to normalize trans people by fitting them in existing binary gender structures. Skip that part. This classroom setting where we discuss different corporealities now constitutes our states and ontological position. Disability search for complete body politic from which society resisting alienates even the audience in the root cause of exclusion. Siebers 9. Do certain kinds of bodies have greater civil rights and others different membership of the body politic flashing with the power on the sound floor and the chambers of powerful in the classrooms opposing sides of not to debate political problems directly focusing instead of offensive performance and gestures, aesthetic feelings and pleasure and discuss the different from separate from political feelings. Disability is not just not one's controversy among others. Disability can be concept by which major controversy are presented public sphere represent platforms because they've had body images used to term people disabilities to solicit feelings discover and threat to contaminate society with display bodies to objectional body politic. The political and conscious or feast upon a community is less empowered to conceive sociality as the level form and envisions bodies as a symbols of wholeness. The political and conscious is social machinery designed to eradicate disability. Bodies that cannot be assumed by ritual must be limited. Observe the disability, feel compelled to find to act and cure or kill the again set before their eyes. Our alternative, we should reject the appearance approach to politics and favor modernism. Identity politics inevitably rooted and wounded detachment and essentialism. Only a new dismodern understands identity can solve the social system that creates racism, sexism, classism, and ableism. Only any permutation co-opts dismodernism is the revival of the white normal subject. Davis 13. Rather than ignore the unstable nature of disability, we should amplify that quality instability for a dismodern approach which characterizes the limitation of identity group models, exclusivity, disability presents with malady reveal the human body identity. Dismodern Ashan the concept that difference is while all of us having a common identity is not fixed with malady, but dependence is rule form policy function, wrapping localization of identity. We need to consider new ethics of body. Here the body is now a requirement for existence in a consumer society. All groups of select for disabled by the largest people with disability can provide the broadest way of understanding contemporary system of oppression. Politics have directed for making all identities equal under the dominant white male norm subject. In a dismodern most aims to create a new category based on partial incomplete subject realization, autonomy, independence by interdependency, and interdependence protection created by society large and unventure. To all impairments, the role of normalcy is fantasy to modern vision allows for clearer, more concrete action. We are disabled by justice and oppression of all kinds. We are all non-standard. Next up. One immoral and sturdy means we should prevent extinction. Boston 12. Moral and sturdy standards pressing knowledge and not confused. If we are uncertain, this is very valid in preserving our ability to recognize values to the future accordingly. Second, ensure there are future humanity's best way to increase future values. Second, all concede the sense of this truth that we have no active institutions, so states are responsible for states of Peiris. So I prove that death is the worst consequence that you prefer. My standard and death is worse because one is reversibility. The end of humanity means that we can never recreate the amount of culture, but structural violence only means that humanity can still exist. That's the standard. It is minimizing existential risk. Highway bill spending will expire November 22nd. McConnell and Ryan need to work together to have a highway bill passed, but prior compromise with Connell's legislation will kill Ryan's credibility, conservative, making it impossible for him to move to Bill 1029. Ryan will have the freedom to push on the policy issues for Ryan McConnell's question how long the honeymoon lasts. This opportunity to refresh the relationship between the two bodies. If Ryan has a deal with McConnell and Newspeak face the same type of backlash from many House Republicans pressure with that conference getting steamrolled of GOP senators all too willing to compromise. Ryan has boss to build a productive relationship. This week the House killed a short-term increase to highway trust fund until November 20th, meaning McConnell and Ryan will need to out way forward. 90% of controversial seen as attack on parental rights, Goodwin and Duke 11. In U.S. minor consent statutes and reproductive health care remains contested among diverse stakeholders. Opponents characterized as challenging parental authority, claiming that statutes use jurisdiction of parenting away from the family locus are promoting permissive behaviors. Numerous studies prove transportation key to long-term economies resist sustainability and resiliency. NEC 14. A modern transportation network is vital to economic progressive growth. Regional economies rely on each other for individual employment and growth transportation pressure, but if the overall economy research found very large economic gains for public capital research has emphasized the importance of maintaining existing assets in good state of repair. Well-connected transportation network means faster travel times for people and goods. Transportation enables business to choose the most efficient way to ship their goods. Infrastructure can raise property values. Proximity public transit raises value of real estate. Economic climate guarantees multiple scenarios for nuclear war and turns every other impact. Harris and Burroughs 9. The potential for greater conflict can grow in volatile economic environment. Groups of compression self-radicalizing the absence of economic outlets draw down police states who new security regiments into nuclear invasion of conflict, terrorism, can lead down into escalation, proximity, and nuclear violence combined with short warning flight times have been imposed, focus of preemption, leading escalating crises, conflict of resources, re-emerging research, develop conflict, cooperation manning for resource likely to be increasing difficult, also turns case lacking the amount of capital and the infrastructure necessary to attend hospitals that trans youth also can't access gender conforming therapy. Case. Their apologization that categorizes trans identity by separating the true trans people from the ones with less severe problems. These simultaneously turn unwarranted treatment into a cure for the disabled while classifying those outside the medical definition as mentally disabled. Smith 11. Classification is assuming true transsexual. This is warranted the belief that all true trans people wanted to require surgery. Classification true transsexual becomes extremely important to the justification of gender affirming surgery and treatment. The supposition was that transsexualism was a form of natural illness. Private medical practitioner view trans and gender non-conforming people mentally ill, perverted. And on the underview off the Brian 12 evidence, one conceptual inquiry is a prerequisite constructive policy section. Only curriculum was established to ensure uniform political debate turns and outweighs their policy-making arguments. Kirky 8. Contemporary includes pre-rights and people research without understanding the ways we apply concept ways to conduct studies that we cannot justify with risk not being able to understand how, why, or a concept we're not able to engage in constructive debate. Ways we analyze the world like related to consumption. We make philosophical and change not be sidelines. 2. It's impossible to discuss policy options without considering the representation that frame them. Also answer the prize 98 evidence. George 6. Reps are interpreted prisons through which decision making for sense of reality. Reps concerned and enable policies to decision making adopt. They limit action with our political thinkable concerns policies and conceivable identity how state represents another helps understand why certain foreign policy have adopted while others have been. This includes now in the Z's evidence. Yes, war impact a strong statistical basis, rallying around the flag effect. Royal 10. Economic climate increased conflict, economic crisis usher into redistribution of power. That leads to uncertainty, increased miscalculation. Church decline states will use force again to resources, cut the card resources. Second is that his argument is that economic incentives mean that states will go to war, but any economic impact means that states will be incentivized to go to war to take resources from the neighbors. And on the Jones 9 evidence, their insistence on seeing the world through the lens of the state apparatus solidifies bureaucratic methods to organize that force intelligibility, foreclose deviancy, Halberstam 11. Why not think in terms of different society than the one that created slavery in the modern state has run roughshod of the local forms of knowledge, civilized social practice, demanded by the state for legibility through imposition methods, uniformity, population, threatening always to overcome cultivation of the intellectually like state means to accept the order of things and utilize them, cut the card and internalize them. Now the RBI's argument. One is that reciprocity demands and neg also get RBI. Second is that one error theory flips the times U, which means I also get RBI. So he gets 7 sig times U.
Alright. So 3 minutes. Status of the alternative.
Conditional.
Alright. Okay, that's fine. I guess on the criticism, so there are 2 links, right?
So there are 2 cards read as links, but the linked arguments make a couple different distinct things within the card.
Alright.
So
what are those distinct things?
Okay, so
actually, that's fine.
Okay.
I want to understand on the disad. So you say that minor consent laws. Where does it say that Congress is contentious on minor consent?
So it lists a couple of stakeholders that are key supporters of the Republican Party. It says that lobbyists, along with supporters of the Republican Party.
Wait, can you read me the line from the card where it says that?
Okay. So it says.
It says opponents of the statute characterize them as challenges to parental authority. Where does that say that those opponents of the statute, right? Like my grandma, might be opposed to a bill. Why does that affect Congress?
Okay, so the argument is that Republicans hold family values that take.
Where does it say Republicans?
Okay, the evidence does not mention Republicans.
It doesn't mention Republicans.
However, it says stakeholders in the political arena.
Where does it say that?
Okay.
I
So it
don't even
says.
see stakeholders in the political arena.
All right. The capacity of minors to consent their own health care and reproductive health care remains a contested thing among diverse stakeholders concerned with promoting the health and well-being of adolescents. Indeed, these statutes are continually debated on the grounds
What
that
is a stakeholder?
a stakeholder.
Yeah.
For example, a lobbyist, healthcare supporters, people in Congress, or
Do we
people
even
who
know these are
influence
stakeholders
Congress.
for Congress?
What?
Do we know that these are stakeholders in Congress?
What? Who? What's your question?
It's fine. Let's move on. What does the highway bill do?
Okay, the highway bill funds projects for states and local governments to build transportation infrastructure.
All right. I guess that's fine. What is dismodernism?
Dismodernism is a new approach to politics that seeks to affirm difference rather than view the deviance of bodies as something to be cured or normalized, and instead seeks to create a new understanding of the body politics that does not assume a perfect autonomous body.
All right, that's fine. I guess other than that, you read this. You make what does Halberstam say?
Okay, it says that bureaucratic focus on the state, regardless of whether you affirm or legitimacy of the state, is bad because it forecloses understanding of different possibilities. So the bureaucratic insistence of the AF is bad for a couple reasons. Halberstam says it runs roughshod over forms of local knowledge, which is bad because it doesn't understand how oppression actually functions. Second, it ignores the specific situations of individuals who are suffering from oppression. For example,
Sure, that's fine. Can you walk me through these? Like, what are these different links you were talking about?
Okay, so the Frisch evidence makes a couple arguments. First, it says that disability, autonomy assumes a perfect able body who is able to like make decisions and is able to be independent from the rest of society, which is bad.
All right, that's fine.
Okay.
4 minutes of prep starting now. Stop. 48. It's called R21AR. Let me just make sure it's on the flash. Yeah. R21AR. Order is critique is at our case on top. We'll put the critique on top. And then the dissent. So KDA case. I might not read everything on the doc. That's just okay.
I'm still looking for the, what's it called again?
It's R21AR.
Alright.
Got it?
Yeah.
Okay. Ready? First link, turn the app increases access, which alters the material conditions to make stable as possible, more directly solves your impact. Also, no link. Your autonomous card is about constructing autonomous subjects, as in like pulling yourselves up by your bootstraps and doing everything on your own. Arguments that you should be able to make an autonomous choice. It's not. There is nothing in the card call for it. It's terrible. I know because I've been reading this K. It literally says nothing about like autonomous people, about autonomous choices. Just autonomous people. Then of the first link, your first link is argument about training trans people to themselves. First of all, no link. Our argument is very specific about hormone blockers, which is the entirety of the thesis of the alternative that there is a non-normative body because there's a distinction between hormone blockers and gender reaffirming hormones. We do not say that people should take hormones to look like the other gender, rather they should take hormones to not develop secondary sex characteristics that are key to preventing suicide, abuse within transgender people, because they internalize judgments because they only do this because society's literally killing trans people and people are killing themselves because other people are hating them. That is the status quo. Trans people are killing themselves, which means that your impact is non-unique and inevitable. So the question is, where should we go from here? And the affirmative is definitely a step in the right direction. Incrementalism should be a framing argument your valid because that's the best way in order as for you to deal with the movement, but also would only engage, but also then go to further arguments between this coding efforts about internalizing negative arguments. We've already answered that. Next, you want to think Huber's argument about root cause. Root cause does not mean reverse cause. Just because you get rid of the ableism does not solve the entirety of the app. But also second, no root cause is really bad for you to conflate disability with transness. I think that is probably a link to the ableism case because you make the idea that being trans is a disability, which is probably something negative that we would turn because we are a rejection of the medical model, but rather an endorsement of the social model. Then go to the argument, but then you make the argument about the alternative about Davis, about dismoderism, but permutation do the after the mindset of the all. Permutation do both, and permutation do the after and the alternative. This is definitely going to be best. Also, I think the framing arguments have answered this very good because your argument is just about dismoderism, about how you have to break down social categories. But if we broke down social categories, then it is a question. Then that solves the entirety of the app, which means it's a perm double bind because either A, the alternative solves all the links to the app, or B, it doesn't solve, which means that it is a terrible alternative. But also, like the argument's simple. Like if there's a world where there's no categories, should people be able to make themselves look different or not? Right? Like I can stick like lead bullets in my arm and no one's going to stop me. Like why should we stop people from doing that? Permutation solves. Dis that. First is a thumper, that is mental health bill. That's Sullivan 1030 text the flying over speaking about health reform bill signed next week. The Democrats are rejecting the division of the bill. Only most controversial to change the health privacy law and HIP. The other controversial provision to give the final to the Senate states who adopt this and outpatient treatment. These are unanswered questions of how to pay. That's coming this week. Also, no impact data proves the highways are fine. Politicians have incentives to exaggerate that scroll 77. So statistics tell the difference where U.S. roads and bridges are not falling apart. High percentage of the highways are acceptable. Here's no statistics change in average. Urban and road quality 4.2%. Bridges that are classified as roughly deficient down from 5.7%. Elected officials in Washington and capture votes by sending gasoline tax dollars homes. Also winners win because when we pass controversial policies, that increases political capital, empirically proven. Now, going to the case. First of all, that's fine. Off of your Smith argument, Smith is talking about true trans people. We've already answered this argument. It's the same thing with the thesis of no. This argument is about surgery. Call for the card. It's not about hormone blockers, which means that if you think we're winning particularity, it doesn't matter because it's argument about looking like the other body. We're just saying they shouldn't have to look like a bot. Like they don't have to look like a gender if they don't want to look like that gender. It's about oppression. But then, you have conceived the entirety of the thesis of the app that trans people in the status quo are oppressed and kicked out of their house by parents when they often come out as trans, and that the app is a way of reaffirming blue expression of identity, but that's always going to be not beneficial. So you can vote on a risk of offense of the app, even if you think, because there's no answer to the solvency. Next, go to your cards. The Kirkegaard's card just talks about conceptual philosophy and inquiry, but you can extend the price argument that particular is the best here. This argument is very simple about how big t-shirts might still be true, but small t-shirts have to always come first because that's the only way that we can be able to say, because, for example, just because we say the law is bad does not mean that it's always going to be bad, because if we look empirically proven like the law might have been really bad for African Americans for hundreds of years, but if you look in the law in terms of like making places in prisons for trans people who are getting abused, which means the law can be a good thing, so that means you could reject the law in all other instances and do the affirmative because it is a positive step in the right direction, especially when you have not answered solvency proves that particularity is good, but also off the juror evidence you say impossible to discuss policy, but that's fine. You can still discuss the representations, an issue of which one is more important because representations are always going to be finding your royal argument at first, that's fine. Then also that's fine. Off to the Howard Stand, you talk about the bird crack method, but yeah, that's fine.
316 left. is overview, critique, disadd, case.
So overview, disadd, case. Overview, critique, disadd, case.
Critique, disadd, case.
All right.
Okay. Everyone ready? First, Jonas has conceded death is the highest layer of debate outweighs on versatility because once the human race disappears here means that we can never bring it back, outweighs the structural violence argument. Second, he has conceded this at turns case because of the lack of economy and lack of capital that allows hospitals to function means that trans people cannot access hormone blockers means that this ad also co-ops all of the YC offense means I control a risk of offensive view. If I want to risk of this ad, then you should vote negative. Now, critique not going for it's conditional. Kick the alternative also. I'll concede that policymaking focus is key, which means that we should prefer weigh the consequences of the plan versus the consequences of whether the status quo is preferable to the plan. Now, just that extend the bottom evidence that moral certainty means that we should prioritize distinction because this is conceded argument for why we should prioritize the existence of the human race above smaller scale impacts such as structural violence. Also extend the reversibility argument. I can see the no activist distinction arguments which you should prefer arguments about which consequences come first. If I want the existential risk is the largest possible consequence reason that you should prefer a standard. Now extend the standard for minimizing existential risk. Now this a proper extent our unique evidence that the Highwood Trust Fund will pass now that Boehner after Boehner's retirement, Ryan has become new speaker and he's cooperating with McConnell to pass a Highwood Trust Fund bill, and they are open to creating a new deal. However, the plan disrupts that. That's our good one. And Juke 11 evidence that Republicans like family values and dislike things that disrupt the ability of the family in order to govern the children, which means that also proves that they will rebel against McConnell, and also means that they cannot work out a deal is fragile, and the plan to will now extend the impact evidence. Our DC evidence proves that transportation infrastructure is key to ensure economic competitiveness. It also controls the strongest central link to U.S. competitiveness abroad. Now extend Harrison Bros. Non-evidence that economic decline causes massive conflict means that they cause a resource crisis. Also, people go to war over resources. That's our Harrison Bros. Non-evidence. Also, they can see the rural 10 evidence, which is that there's a strong statistical reason why economic decline causes war. Don't let it make arguments are why you should prefer high probability impacts, because you can see the entirety of the impact scenario, which you should prefer this at 100% strength link. Now on his answers off the thumper. One is that one extent that uniqueness evidence that they will have now its top priority. Our evidence indicates that McConnell is working out a deal, and this is a key fragile balance. Now, second is that Congress will pass a new multi-year highway funding bill. Now, this is a top priority. Leon 1029. Obama signed into law a bill to extend federal transportation funding. The bill extend federal transportation funding until November 20th. This three-week extension will allow the House and Senate to go to conference on our bipartisan long-term bill. Senate leaders have said they expect to be able to get a multi-year highway bill to Obama's desk by Thanksgiving. Third is that newly passed budget bill means controversial issues have been removed from the table. Highway Trust Fund is the last and crucial piece of legislation. CNN 1030. The Senate early Friday morning gave a final approval of the large fiscal package that will prevent U.S. default next week. The lower risk of Obama shutdown in December. The measure increased the federal spending for domestic defense programs by more than $80 billion over the next years. It has broad support from Democrats but limited support from Republicans. Many have even complained the deal brokered by bipartisan congressional leaders contain too much spending. Other Republicans plan to pass a bill means Ryan can begin to draw a new job with the state clean up some of the most controversial issues before the Congress. Means you should prefer our uniqueness evidence. Fourth is that you should default negative on this question. You can see the link evidence. You link to terms of direction of uniqueness. If uniqueness is unclear for you, then you should vote for negative because of the link. I've won that Republicans conclusively dislike the piece of legislation that Alpha offers, which is that it's strong enough backlash against the bill that it means that uniqueness goes negative. Now on his Kroll 7.7, he says no active highways are fine. Extend our DEC 14 evidence that transportation infrastructure is declining. Now we should that we need to strengthen the economy, that real estate values as well as job commute times means that we need transportation infrastructure to rebolster economic competitiveness. Second is that failure to repair infrastructure risks long-term economic collapse. There is a short time frame for damage, and it was already killing economic competitiveness. Healthy 11. Decaying roads are costing U.S. $129 billion a year. Infrastructure defense to add $97 billion to the cost of delays. Costs $32 billion. Investments are surface transportation infrastructure not being soon. Costs are expected to grow exponentially within 10 years of added $430 billion exports, followed by $28 billion deterioration. But like an iceberg, just a tip and enormous obstacle to economic growth strong below above. The surface infrastructure failure already is dramatically affecting travel and commerce. Several reports to predict our consequences of nature does not physically address systems. The cold hard truth that America's economic recovery and competitiveness will suffer. We continue to underinvest without infrastructure investment. Jobs will be lost in that growth. Stop linking between infrastructure and economic competitiveness has always been understood. Transportation, delays in vehicle repairs, draining money that otherwise would be investment, innovation, and expansion. Third, their evidence cites statistics from bridges and structural deficiencies. While my impacts about transportation infrastructure involving rail, which that also doesn't apply. Fourth is that there is no bias. His evidence is that politicians are incentivized to exaggerate in order to send monies back to their constituents. By my evidence, from a political reporter, not from a politician, which means that your evidence also doesn't apply. That last argument he's made is winners win. One is that he doesn't read a card. This I've read evidence by why PC. I've read evidence by why backlash means that the McConnell deal wouldn't pass. But second is that this is not about political capital. It's about credibility of Ryan North to cooperate with other people, which means that also doesn't apply. The third is that he has not read a card for this argument. You should grant the spell of credence. Don't allow a new 2-hour expansion. Fourth is that the plan isn't a win. Our links prove that it has no supporters, which means that doesn't generate political capital in the long term. Fifth, wins don't spill over. Capital is finite. Prioritizing issues is key. Schultz 13. His option of limited presidential powers to persuade powers temporal greatest one for first elected contextual effect by competing eyes. Presidential powers finite decreasing, but over time president lose political capital. President gets dragged loose. Support might have political in 2009, but Obama was last element lost control of Congress. Now, underview first. Extinction comes first. Higgs conceded reversibility argument. If there is no activist in distinction, then states are responsible for states of affairs, and you should prioritize high magnitude impacts because they kill more people and result in more harm in the long run, which was in the 1AC. Second, disad accesses the 1AC offense because economic decline means that people are not able to access hospitals and cannot afford the treatment necessary to confirm their gender, which means that when you access their offense, he cannot leverage the contention against the disad. Fourth, the only arguments here are defense. His winners win argument has no card and also doesn't apply to Orion credibility dissent. Thus I negate.
Alright. I guess I have. Did you write down which prep I thought?
No.
It was like
46 seconds.
46 total.
Something 48.
Okay.
Readable on the
Maybe it was 146.
I think it was. I think I had more than that.
I think it was 146.
Alright.
I remember 46.
So no one believes me on 48. Did you read everything on the doc?
No, I didn't read the.
Delete what you did read.
Alright.
I made these arguments, but I didn't say it like exactly like that.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's it?
Yep.
Alright. 138 starting. Yeah. So, tiny overview at the top, then it will go case disad. Or actually, it'll just case and then the disad. Alright. Alright. first extend that the case itself is entirety because of the argument about how currently in the status quo people are committing suicide because they are not allowed to be able to permit it as trans. Only these people, that means that we solve the entirety of the app because we get them hormone blockers, so they're allowed to reaffirm fluid conceptions of identity, so that's fine. Next, go on to the dissent. Okay, that's fine. The one error was pretty bad, but I think that you can still vote affirmative, and here is the reason why. You need to call for the card. This isn't sketch because you read the card in the 2NR, which means that I can answer it as a way for you to vote affirmative. Call for the Lang card. You said that Congress will pass a new multi-year highway funding bill. Now, let me read you part of the card that you did not read. Unlike in years past, I expect a very short conference period. Senator James Inhofe said in a speech Monday evening, when I say a very short conference period, it's because there's little difference between the White House bill and the Senate bill. He continued, I've talked to the likely conferences, and they are in accord with the idea that we can do this in a matter of hours and not days. The short-term highway bill that was assigned by Obama also extends a December 31st deadline for railroads to install an automated train navigation system known as positive train control to the end of 2018. This extension had previously been attached to both Senate and House's multi-year NAG bills after the railroads threatened to partially shut down many of the nation's highways. This is terminal defense against the dissent. Call for it. It literally very clearly says this could take hours. Like if they could have sat down during this round and finished the discussion of the highway bills, which means this literally means that the app is not sufficient, which means that our evidence about the thumper is, which means that this is terminal defense, right? Because the argument is that it's going to take them such a little amount of time that you are not making enough reasons about why the app passing is sufficient to drain enough of Obama's political capital in order to not discuss this, because they can discuss this in a matter of hours, which means that that is sufficient. It's going to be a very short conference. Doesn't take a lot of time. Obama doesn't need political capital because they already agree. You say it's about lobbying, but the argument is that the lobbying's already there because they agree on it. That's the card. Sure, you don't get a new answer, but you read the card, not me, which means it's legitimate. Like, if you read a card that answers itself, I should be able to point that out. Next, go into thumper. Extend the thumper, which is the mental health bill that's stolen 1030. That intentions of flying it over, swinging a mental health bill stated to move forward next week. Your argument, okay, this is another thing. This mental health bill is next week. Your argument is 3 weeks, which means it turns the framing. It doesn't matter. All of your answers just said it's about a top pricing and working, but no, right, Ashan, your card says that your bill happens in 3 weeks, November 20th. My bill says that it happens next week, and it says Democrats are objecting to provisions of the bill about the HIPAA, and there are unanswered questions of how to pay. This is next week, which means in terms of time frame for a politics dissad, you know that means it has to come first, which means the dissad definitely thumps the app, which means that the dissad is inevitable because this is already getting thumped, which means that Obama's not going to put there's going to be no lobbying about this. In your next argument is that there's a new speaker, but this account takes into the new speaker. It's literally what Paul Ryan has to do in his first week, which means that that is probably going to be sufficient, but then fine, we'll concede that winners don't win, but then your argument's about economic competitiveness. So here's how the round breaks down. Yes, the one error is bad, extinction comes first, but this risk of ox framing is nonsense. If there is terminal defense against the dissad, because it is literally inevitable, your card answers itself. It says that Obama does not have to put, there's no time that has to go into it, Congress just has to take a few hours to discuss it. Also, so that means that at that point, if it's inevitable, then you can vote AF, because the AF solves, the dissad's gonna happen. In terms of time frame, the thumper probably comes first, because your answers are just that it will pass now, and you're extending those arguments. But that is irrelevant if the thumper happens before the AF, because there are 3 weeks, which means at best, the AF can still pass, and then the thumper can happen later. It's not a new argument, because you read that card in the 2NR. Good round. The card I read?
Yeah.
Okay.
And was it? I don't know how to pronounce it. The one before CNN.
Yeah.
where's the card you read on the wing?
Oh, you want the thumper?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The thumper is. Just looking for some paper. Jonas said I could steal some of his. Where's Jonas?
Concerns? No problem. Ooh, we got the nice one. Yeah. Quite a lot. Ooh, sick.